Good day and welcome to the GEF Live series here at the GEF Assembly in Viet Nam. My name is Max Edkins from the Connect for Climate program of the World Bank. Thank you for joining us online. We've got a great series of discussions to look into the global commons. How do we address them? How do we ensure that we build a sustainable future environment for ourselves and for our children? So to take that conversation forward, we're honored to have Erik Solheim here. Erik is the head of the UN Environment Program. Thank you for joining us. And over to you, Jeff Lean. He's a renowned environmental journalist who's been in the industry for over 50 years. Thank you for joining us, and take it away.
Thanks, Max. Erik, marine plastics is an interesting issue, isn't it? I mean, it's come from nowhere. 2 years ago, we'd hardly heard about it. Now it's everywhere.
This is it, Erik Solheim.
Why do you think it's suddenly caught people's imagination?
It's simply unbelievable. I mean, a couple of years back, hardly anyone talked about plastic. Now it's at the top of agenda wherever you go all over the planet.
I know, governments too.
India 1 week or the European Union the other, everyone is talking about plastic. I think it's a couple of reasons. It's very visible. I mean, everyone can see it. You can do something in your own life. You can throw away the straws, the plastic cutlery. At the same time, it's about the big issues on the planet. A whale died in Thailand the other week. 80 plastic bags in his stomach. It was vomiting plastic bags while dying. So it's about the big picture of the planet, but also the small issues in your own life.
Yeah, I'm sure that's right. That's a very fascinating answer. And I guess it also shows the enormous power that the public opinion has when it gets mobilized in an environmental issue, because it's not just the public protesting, it's governments all over the world taking action.
What we have really succeeded with here is to get beyond the group of committed environmentalists. We are allied with, well, Sky News, which is owned by Robert Murdoch, Daily Mail, British tabloid, and so many other entities, bring it out to the kitchen table conversation for each and everyone. And that's what has really mobilized a strong public opinion. And when you have these three forces at the same time, citizens' engagement, political leadership, and businesses acting, then you have a very, very strong combination.
And I mean, many developing countries are in the forefront of taking action. I mean, Kenya's plastic bag ban is very strong. China is moving very fast. Indonesia.
Absolutely, and of course, that's also because some of this doesn't cost anything. When Rwanda became the cleanest nation in Africa for sure, and maybe even the cleanest on the planet, was one factor. So the leadership of President Kagame, who mobilized people. But very interestingly, they now say, now it's gone into our blood. When I don't see anyone else throwing plastic into the streets, well, I won't do it either. And of course, this is taken to a much bigger scale when Prime Minister Modi of India just promised that India will go one-use plastic-free by 2022. India can do it.
Unbelievable.
So big, so complicated, everyone can do it.
And in Mumbai, you can go to jail now, as of yesterday. 3 months jail, multiple years.
I was in Mumbai and Maharashtra a couple of weeks back, and we tried to buy one-use cutlery, I mean plastic cutlery. Not that we wanted to use it, but we wanted to make a video to throw it away. Then the guys in the shop, they said, no, it's prohibited in the state. If you want this, you go to another state.
And they know who you were.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a strong personal interest in this because my wife is Irish. And Ireland was the very first country to ban plastic bags. And a friend of mine was the minister who did it. But the amazing popular response where everybody was enthusiastic about it. And by chance, I went to San Francisco immediately afterwards, because I'm a judge of the Goldman Prize, and talked to the head of environment there. And he said, how can we do it? So I put him in touch with the editor of the Irish Times, and we caught him in the pub, and he flew over, and San Francisco banned, and that started the whole ban in the United States. So it's amazing how fast these things spread.
I think what was really interesting is to see how what was impossible just a few months back all of a sudden becomes possible.
Yes, exactly.
Businesses said, oh, there is no way we can replace the straws, and then the customers will abandon us. And then all of a sudden they can do it, and they do it. And even more importantly, get support for it.
Yeah.
The European Union just told me that the plastic strategy, which they just made, 2 years back, it would have been impossible. They said we would have been hammered. Yeah. Not only it's possible, it's very popular.
So that gives one great hope, doesn't it, for other environmental issues?
It shows the power of the four forces of citizens' engagement, political leadership, and business. And I think if we can look into many more environment issues, make them concrete, close to people, while at the same time not forget the planet and the big picture, then we will succeed.
Yes, I'm sure that's right. So what's the next one?
Well, one is very obvious, and that's the air pollution in the big cities in the world. Let's move very rapidly into much better mass transit system and into electrical cars. Here in Viet Nam, there is any number of motorbikes. Let's look into how we can replace them with electrical bikes.
It's amazing how slow that one has been to take off, though. I mean, I campaigned a newspaper for it twice in Britain on asthma, and everybody has a relative with asthma, and yet the issue never took off.
I think it's a little bit as the same with the plastic. It gives no meaning to be the one person in the entire world who abandons one-use plastic.
Yes.
In the same way, to be the one person buying an electrical vehicle is not really meaningful. Just when it's taken to scale, and many do it, then it's meaningful. And I'm very confident that the cities of the future will be completely different from today's cities. Yeah. In 20 years' time, there will hardly be any gasoline vehicle in the big cities.
I'm sure you're right. Yeah. Now, cities is very much a topic here, one of the main priorities of the GEF. What can a meeting like this do to push that along?
No, this is a good example. I mean, we can make a real scalable program to help whatever government, whatever city in the world who want to move into electrical bikes, electrical vehicles, electrical buses, and also do walking and normal biking much easier. We can make a scalable program where everyone can get the best practice from the world. Also on plastics, it's the same. I mean, avoiding one-use plastic is fairly simple, but getting a proper waste management system for all cities, that's much more complicated. Again, getting best expertise and knowledge from other cities always helps a lot, and this is the scale Global Environmental Facility can assist us in reaching.
Yes, and of course it also makes a circular economy, which can seem a bit abstract, real if you're talking about plastic per se.
But circular economy is not so abstract. I mean, look at this one. In 2050, we will be 10 billion people on the planet. Everyone will have a cellular phone. Everyone maybe above age 4 or 5.
More than one, yes.
If we throw it away every year, every second year to get a new one, there is no way we have the resources for that. No, will also be very dangerous for all the poison we will bring. However, if we can use the components again, this phone is, I think, it's developed in California, put together in China, but the components for 30, 40 nations all over the planet. We need to reuse them and use them over and over again, but with new and better technology. Then we have the circular economy, which will take us into the next phase of industrial revolution.
And that should be something that sparks a similar reaction, because recycling is something that has taken off. People do understand the need to recycle, and by and large want to do it.
I think people understand this very well, but of course we environmentalists have quite often failed by speaking about the environment in so complicated terms, using any number of acronyms or difficult words, and also in people's issues people see a little bit far out there in cyberspace. It
takes it away from them again.
Rather than concrete here and now, how we can change, and in a can-do atmosphere. How can we do better rather than denouncing denouncing all the problems?
And the GEF as a whole, I mean, how does that help your work?
It helps tremendously, because it can be a source of finance and leadership for these big scalable programs transforming the world. I mentioned plastics and waste management and city mobility. A third area is avoid deforestation and do better in agriculture. Again, let's not just do some small programs here and there, but do things which are big in scale, which completely transform the entire planet.
And the global commons as a concept, I mean, is that something that takes fire and works for you?
That's very, very important, because what you mean by that is that when something is big and not personal property, you can just throw away the plastic into the oceans, or you can just cut down the trees, because what you do is not alone making problems, but when it's done by many, many people in scale, it destroys the planet. And that's why we need, of course, political leadership, business to change, and citizens' movement for this to happen.
So what is your one simple message for citizens, and particularly young citizens who will tend to be watching this.
With the words of Mahatma Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world.
Thanks very much.
Jeff, we got a question here from a youth. So I'd like to invite Tran to come up and ask a question to Erik.
Yes.
Tran is an aspiring student who will be studying development soon in the UK. So over to you.
Oh, hello, nice to meet you. It's my honor to know two of you. So my question is, global commons is very important or crucial today. Do you have any advice for the youth today to take on any action toward the global environment issues? To, you know, like they are the very powerful generation and they don't really take a lot of action these days.
People should take action in their own life. As an example, throw away the one-use plastic, the straws, the plastic bags you don't need. But at the same time, of course, when you go to the shop, you tell the companies that they need to change, and you tell the politicians of your nation that you need to lead us in another direction. But when you combine these changes in your life with the change of politics and the change of business, it's a very, very powerful force. Another area for that, when you speak about the commons, is of course the fisheries. The fisheries in the world are not sustainable at the moment. Discussed it today also with the Minister of Environment of Viet Nam. Viet Nam has a long coastline and is very eager to see better practice for fishing. And we need to then avoid the bad practices and do fishing in a really sustainable way. But that can happen. It happens in a number of places in the world, so let's just take that to the rest of the world.
Thank you very much for your question, your answers. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tran. Thank you for your question. And thank you, gentlemen, for joining us for the live series here at the GEF Assembly. Keep on engaging with us online on the Connect for Climate Facebook page, as well as with the hashtag GEFLive. Thank you so very much.